So this is the new 40 megapixel Fujifilm X-T5, and this is its older brother, the 26.1 megapixel X-T4. And I kind of just want to know, is it worth upgrading to the new X-T5 or keeping my older X-T4 around a bit longer? Now here's the thing, I don't really consider myself much of a photographer, so I actually flew down to LA to put both of these cameras in the hands of my good friend Jake Bernal, who happens to be an excellent portrait photographer. He put together a really cool studio portrait session at AKI or AKI, I'm really not sure, studios in LA in order to properly test the capabilities of these two cameras.
Oh, I love them so far.
Dang, how does it look so good already?
The camera?
Yeah.
The lighting?
The me?
Now, one of the first things we noticed while we were shooting was that the X-T4's autofocus was struggling to keep up, especially when Jake was shooting in burst mode.
This is missing focus a little bit.
Is it?
Every now and then, yeah. But it looks fantastic. I will say, I think I like the EVF and the 5 a little bit more. But that's, I mean, not knowing any specs on it, chin up a little bit.
The X-T5, on the other hand, definitely held up much better.
So just talking about, like, it misses focus every now and then, but it's doing pretty good holding up.
Although the X-T5 definitely missed focus plenty of times, I do think that the autofocus could still use some improvements. It doesn't keep up with the likes of Sony or Canon, and I hope that Fujifilm continues to update the autofocus with future updates. Now, of course, one of the biggest differences between the Fujifilm X-T4 and the X-T5 is their screen designs. For me, I much prefer the flip screen of the Fujifilm X-T4. However, I'm mostly shooting YouTube type content. On the other hand, Jake, who's an actual photographer, he much preferred the classic tilt screen that they went back to with the Fujifilm X-T5.
So I've been shooting now here with both the X-T5 and the X-T4, and I'm definitely loving the shooting experience on the X-T5, maybe a little over the X-T4. I haven't really peeped the files yet, but I'd say that having this three-way tilt screen in a studio setting like this is a lot more handy than having a flip out screen. I have been shooting on my personal A7R5, which is kind of the best of both worlds. But if I have to choose between the two, I'd say that the X-T5 for a studio setting has my vote in terms of the screen. Photography wise, these screens are the best.
Now, obviously the magic comes down to the actual image quality that these two cameras are capable of. Comment down below whether you think the photos from camera A or camera B are from the Fujifilm X-T5. Now, when looking at the photos without pixel peeping, they both look pretty good. It's a bit difficult to tell which is which. However, once you zoom in at all, it does become a bit clearer that the X-T5 is quite a bit crisper, in my opinion. Not that the X-T4 photos are bad, just that the X-T5 has a bit more punch-in capabilities.
And after reviewing the X-T4 versus X-T5 files, I will say I do kind of lean towards the X-T5, given that I have more flexibility in post with 40 megapixels, and also the added bonus of shooting in lovely JPEGs with the nostalgic negative film simulation, something the X-T4 does not have.
For me right now, I feel like I'm gonna continue to stick with my Fujifilm X-T4, even though the X-T5 is clearly better. As I said at the beginning of the video, I don't really consider myself a photographer, and this is clearly a photographer's camera. However, if you are looking at both of these cameras for yourself and you primarily do shoot photography, I would highly recommend the Fujifilm X-T5.
A couple. Dude, like looking through the Fujifilm EVF is wild because it's not that I like the EVF better, it's that I like the film simulations. It just makes me feel like I'm shooting an edited photo. And it really helps me get an idea of the final look that I'll be playing with later in Lightroom. I dig that a lot.
At $16.99, I do think that the Fujifilm X-T5 is a great choice, but if you love the Fujifilm ecosystem and that is a bit out of your price range, you can still get a Fujifilm X-T4 for just about $1,000. Now, there are plenty of other things that I didn't talk about with this camera, like its film simulations or even its video specs. So if you want to see more content about the Fujifilm X-T5 or any other Fujifilm camera, be sure to let me know down below. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.